Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, I'm going to be doing another AMA. So let's get going. Let's kick it off. First comment or question. Let's kick it off. I'm going to check the. Let's try to kick it off on fitness and training first. Of course, right away we have Jesus Ishmael asking about Charlie Kirk. I saw the assassination, guys. Maybe I. Hold on a second, guys. Might forgive me. Another little screw up there. I was trying to put the image on, didn't load. Guys, yes, I did see the Charlie Kirk. Everybody's talking about it, of course. I want to get to MMA, martial arts, jiu-jitsu, boxing, self-defense, fitness, and then usually we ask any question you want. You know, normally I do it in that order, but because this is such a massive, colossal event, I know I'm gonna get like 1,001 comments in the section before I even get started. And I saw it right away in the chat. Okay, so let's talk about the Charlie Kirk. Okay, first of all, I want to completely wholeheartedly condemn any political violence. Okay, any needless violence at all times, I'm condemning it. It doesn't matter to me who does it. Okay, if it's any race or any religion or any creed or any background, if you use political violence, it's wrong. Okay, it's wrong, it's bad, we shouldn't do it. In this case, he was having a civil discussion and somebody shot him from a distance. I saw the unedited video. It was very gruesome. It was very violent. It was incredibly shocking. But with that said, Charlie Kirk is a person I completely disagree with. I don't, I can't say completely. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm sure we would agree on, but there's so much me and him would disagree on. Okay, I don't see the man's point of view. I think he's an apologist for a lot of bad things, and I'm going to get into the specifics. But I still don't think it's okay to murder somebody. Obviously not. It's against the law. Whoever did it is going to face justice. I'm sure they're going to hunt him down. I'm sure they're going to catch him. And whatever excuses he gives, it's unmerited. Okay, I want to be clear on that. Even though I don't see eye to eye what the guy says, I think a lot of what he says is complete nonsense. I think he turns the blind eye to a lot of violence we see overseas. He's a big Israel supporter, of course. He makes excuses for settler violence. He says, no, of course he says children shouldn't be shot. But we have abundant evidence that children are being shot literally every day in Gaza. They're being murdered. There's a I can't say the word, okay? But there's a something tied. I'm going to use the word tied, okay, because you all know why. He's an apologist for what's going on in the Middle East today. It's inexcusable. It's completely wrong. He said some controversial things, but this for me is my number one bone to pick with the man, okay? He makes excuses for settlers in the West Bank, okay? Now, settlers, many of you know what it is. They go in, they point a gun at somebody's head, they tell them to get out of their homes, and when they leave their homes, they occupy those homes, okay? Or they kick them off their territory, bulldoze their homes, and then they build new homes, and they allow a certain race to move in, okay? Only a certain race is allowed. This is illegal internationally. It's been condemned all over the world by world leaders all over the world. Even the U.S. now has been suspending settlers' visas. They can't visit the U.S. Everybody's condemning it. Yet Charlie Kirk turns the blind eye, makes excuses, never condemns Israel when they break international law. And we have an abundance of evidence that they're assassinating children on a regular basis. This is outside the conflict, okay? This is like a special category of the conflict. We're drawing a red line. We're saying, look, nobody harmed children. Doesn't matter what side they're on. Never harm children. It doesn't matter if it happened in October 2023. You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, October. It was wrong then. It was wrong before that. It was wrong after that. It's wrong today. Yet he makes excuses and turns the blind eye, turns the blind ear to when people complain about this. He's saying, oh, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not true. Nobody wants that. It's not true. It's abundantly true. Okay, he's for free speech. Israel doesn't allow the press, international press, into Gaza. Gaza's saying, come see what they're doing to us. No international press. That's illegal. Okay, it goes against international law. It goes against the First Amendment. He's an American. He's saying, look, free speech, free press, let it free. It's not true. He turns the blind eye. When Israel breaks the rules, international law, it's okay. Look, what I'm trying to say is I don't see eye to eye with the guy. I think the guy is very vile, but still I condemn the man being shot like that. Why? You have to beat him in the arena of reason. You have to reason with the man. You have to go to the rally. You have to show an opposing view. You got to petition against the man. We can't condone political violence anytime. Not if it's done overseas, not if it's done at home. I'm wholeheartedly against that, okay? It's done on, doesn't matter to me which side does it. is what I'm trying to say here, okay? I'm trying to tell you guys, even though I see things so differently than this man, I don't agree with anything he says, almost anything. You know, I'm sure there's things we would agree on. But I oppose this man's views so intensely. But I still don't think this is the right way to deal with it. Okay, now, it's also ironic to me that when he was answering questions, they were asking him about mass shootings. And he was answering a question on mass shootings when the shooting happened. He was asking, his last words, from what I remember, were, is that you want me to include gang violence or non-gang violence? So the statistics change if you incorporate gang violence when it comes to gun violence. Okay, because most gun violence is done by gang-related incidents. And he was shot, ironically. And in 2023, he made a very, very unpopular statement. He said, look, I'm willing to accept certain fatalities, a certain number of fatalities, mass shootings included, etc., to keep our Second Amendment rights. Now, I know it's a very complex topic. Okay, me personally, I'm not an expert in this topic. I've had a long discussion with Tim Kennedy because he's very involved in this topic. And we had a long discussion. I found it very interesting how they're trying to address this problem. I see both sides. I understand that a population wants to be armed. They don't want the government to have all the guns, because then you end up like a North Korea, right? You can't say anything against the government. You can't stand up for your rights. They got all the guns. They got all the power. It could quickly become a police state. So believe me, I'm very sensitive to that. I totally acknowledge that's a problem. But on the other hand, people are shooting each other en masse and people are getting killed needlessly. There's got to be a solution. Now, do I know the solution? I don't. All I'm saying is it was incredibly ironic that he said that in 2023 and was answering a shooting-related question while he got shot. Like, was the shooter waiting for that moment? Like, it's just, I find it so incredibly ironic. Now, again, I can't tell you guys enough how much I don't think we should ever use political violence. I'm totally against political violence, regardless of what side. I'm telling you, I don't agree with the guy. Even if I agree with the guy and I thought I was his biggest fan, I would condemn it. And even if I'm not your biggest fan, if I don't like your position, I still don't think it's right. Okay, so I think it's very important to acknowledge that. I think we got to remember, even if we disagree with somebody, there's no excuse to use political violence. It's absolutely uncalled for. Okay, guys, I'm going to take comments and questions, but I'd like us to move on from this topic because this channel is really reserved for MMA, jiu-jitsu, boxing, health-related reasons. If there's going to be questions on this topic, let's do it. Let's get it over with and then move on. Let's get started. Superman flew away and gun sound was not far enough. I don't know exactly what you mean, but I heard the gun sound. It sounded like, I'm not a gun expert, but it sounded like the guy fired a cannon. It was like a cha. I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I've never seen anything like that. Like, the sound was like, it seemed like he fired a massive weapon. It's just incredibly shocking. Okay, what else we got here? 25. Only in 2025 can you talk the world's best coach from the other side of the world. That's from Alma. Thank you, Alma. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you very much. When will you come to Madrid? That's from Eduardo. Eduardo, it's a dream of mine to come to Madrid. I would definitely love to. The next chance I get, I will definitely run and make it there as quickly as possible. His wife and kids were there. That's from AKA 22. Yes, I heard about that. Very sad. He has a wife and 2 children. I believe he has a boy and a girl. And yeah, extremely sad. And I hope the children didn't witness the event. I heard they were there, but I hope they weren't looking at their dad at the time. And thankfully, they were not injured. But very traumatic, I'm sure, for the entire family. I have no words. I don't know what to say. Isn't Kirk Trump's puppet? That's from Amal. Amal, look, yeah, he's definitely a Trump spokesman. He's definitely not my favorite person. I can't tell you how much I see things differently than him. I think he's a something tied apologist. I think he's a settler apologist. I think he's a war crime apologist. I don't agree with the man at all. But this was still uncalled for. Political violence has no place in a civilized society. Salam, coach. Okay, what else we got here? Is there a famous MMA school in the Middle East? That's from JB19. Wow, there's a couple of TriStars in the Middle East. There's 2 TriStar gyms in Lebanon. They're headed by Wissam Abinadir. So check it out. For us, the biased Muslim shocker. That's from Darth. Darth, what can I tell you, man? We all have our biases. Maybe you're immune of biases, but I would tell you I'm not on the same side of the fence as the man. I totally disagree with the guy, but I'm telling you I condemn the political violence. And I did so on October 7th. I do it today. I do it on every side. Anytime somebody uses violence to get their point across or kills people, commits murder, I'm always against it. So you're going to hear this again. If something happens in the future, I don't need to know what the guy's race, color, or creed was. I find it wrong. I find it completely wrong to murder somebody. But what can I say? I don't agree with the guy. I wish I could have a chance to debate with the man. Like, here's the thing. I got to be totally honest with you. He really attacks the Muslim world, and it makes life difficult for people like me. We walk around, people hate us, people want to attack us, people want to kill us. We've reached out to Charlie Kirk to have a dialogue, like friends of mine who are very, very well-known interlocutors have reached out to him. Hey, let's have a dialogue. If we're so bad, come and sit down with us, have a dialogue. You're always talking bad about us. And he refuses, so he's not ready to dialogue with us. He just wants to kind of smear us, and we should have no rights whatsoever. And you can hear his comments on the Middle East, what's going on in the Middle East. He's completely blind to settler violence. He's completely in denial of the what going on right now. He's completely in denial of it. It's shocking. It's absurd. It's disgraceful. It's officially been declared a what. It's officially been declared a famine. Every international body agrees with what I'm saying. Every single international body, every single NGO, scholars all over the world, including Jewish scholars, prominent Jewish scholars, are saying it, and this man is denying it. He's saying, "Oh, it doesn't exist. No, it's not happening." It's absurd. Come on. Does he deny the hollow what? He doesn't deny that. Well, why are you denying something we are seeing live on television? Hello, Coach. What's your advice to return to mats after 3-year break? I'm a blue belt, but took away my due to bad lower back injury. Now I'm married and my wife is pregnant with our second. That's from Tyler Miles. Tyler Miles, you gotta, I would say, go in there, just drill for the first day, then maybe do a little exercise, don't necessarily roll. Go back to drilling. You haven't trained in 3 years, go back to drilling. Just tell your coach, hey coach, I'm coming in. I'm going to come in 3 or 4 times a week. I just want to drill. I'm going to do the drilling portion and then I'm going to go home. I'm not going to roll for a while, get back into it. I recommend drilling and then like fitness, maybe pull-ups, sit-ups, some running. I don't know if your gym has a full has equipment, but start with drilling and fitness. After a while, maybe a month or so, you would start rolling. Okay, guys, make sure to use promo code SUMMER50 off and get 50% off anything on jujiclub.com. Guys, I released my latest half guard retention video of how to fight half guard pressure. Make sure to use promo code SUMMER50 off. If you use that promo code, you get 50% off. A lot of people buy stuff and they don't use the promo code. Every day we have sales. Every day we have people not using the promo code. I don't understand why they don't use the promo code. I'm offering it to you. But if you're doing it out of courtesy, well, thank you. It's very appreciated. But guys, what can I say? You can use the promo code. Please do and enjoy. Israel did this for the same reasons they prop up Hamas. Any moderate party legitimizing negotiations with existence of Palestine state. Charlie Kirk was legitimizing Republican criticizing Israel. That's from Emmanuel. Look, Emmanuel, I've heard also, because, I haven't been following Charlie Kirk very closely, but I've listened to him stuff in 2023 and beyond. From what I understood, he was softening his stance on Israel. He's softening his support for Israel. Okay, so he was starting to see the mountains of evidence. Okay, we literally have snipers bragging about the murders they commit in the what. Okay, we literally have it, and in the Israeli press. Okay, they print out these articles of snipers going in there and bragging about what they did. We have video evidence. We have Doctors Without Borders coming out and saying what they saw. They're giving reports. We have an endless amount of evidence. They just gave Hind Rajab a 23-minute standing ovation. That's an incredibly well-documented murder of a child. It was reported the ambulance was there to save her. It was reported the ambulance was moving to get this young girl. And not only they killed the young girl, they killed everybody, the rescue team. And that's separate. That's a separate occasion from when they attacked a fleet of ambulance and then tried to bury the evidence. And then they were discovered, they discovered the burial plot, the mass burial, and then they found the phone inside one of the paramedics' pocket, and they played the video, and they saw it was a complete hit. Like, the mountains of evidence are so massive that, from what I understood, Charlie Kirk was starting to soften his position. And some people are, Again, I don't want to get into this because this is all speculation. And you guys know me, I'm very resistant to conspiracy theories. But some people are saying, look, one side wants him quiet. Why? Because dead men tell no tales. And if he starts softening his stance, it's going to create a domino effect. Now, guys, this is far from being proven. Far. It's just hearsay. But also, it's not crazy. Why? Because you just saw Israel bomb Qatar. Like, Israel and America asked Qatar to mediate between them and Hamas. Like, they're sitting down together and they're saying, look, please go, have them in, host them, have a diplomatic talk. Let's resolve this issue. Okay, we'll host them for you. Then when they host them, boom, they bomb them. They bomb Qatar, a sovereign nation. They hit a residential area. Like, why aren't they using the T word? They don't use the T word. The Western media is not using the T word. Well, it's definitely T word. Definitely. It's inhuman. It's unfathomable. It's unconscionable. It's wrong when either side does it. Guys, on October 7th, I came here. I did a whole podcast about how I condemn those activities. I saw the atrocities myself. There's a 40-minute video of atrocities supposedly that I did. Well, I didn't get to see it, but reputable people from the news said they saw it and there were atrocities, war crimes. So I admitted it. I said, look, it's wrong. Of course, there was the 40 baby incident, which I wholeheartly condemned, and then I had to eat my words because I was wrong. But I thought, how could I be wrong? The President of the United States is confirming it. I take it as fact. The President of the United States is confirming it. He said he saw pictures. I had to come back here and eat my words on that particular topic. And of course, I still condemn what happened in October. At killing or attacking civilians or kidnapping children, etc., is always wrong. Okay, especially people who are running for their lives. Okay, I'm totally against that. But also, especially a special category, children. When you harm children, in my book, you're completely lost. Like, you're completely in the wrong. There's never a justification. It is never justified. So, with that said, I don't agree with this man, but I also don't think he should be shot. Okay. This was planned professionally. The shot was 300 feet away. That's from Yahya. I totally agree with you. This seemed very professional. Now, I don't know much about this kind of stuff. Okay, I've hung out with Navy SEAL guys and Army high-level Army guys, and they've talked to me about it. But I'm no expert. But the fact they didn't catch this guy right away, the fact that they couldn't see this guy, because from what I understand, there's security, right? And this is a university. There's cameras everywhere. There must be over 500, 300 cameras on campus at least. I think that's a small number. They didn't see this guy walking in and out of a hall. Like, for sure, they're going through all the footage. It might take time. They're going to catch a glimpse of this guy somewhere. He can't just, he didn't get on the roof, and I'm assuming it's the roof. He didn't get on the roof by helicopter. Like, he had to walk through a hallway. He had to walk across campus. Like, he had to do something close to the building. He's a suspicious guy. He's probably dressed in black, camouflage, whatever. He's probably wearing a hat and glasses. Like, dude, he's not out there like in like, like a very flashy t-shirt and no hat, no glasses. Like, for sure, he's wearing a hat and glasses. They know what they're looking for. They're going to find the guy eventually. We're going to get pictures of the guy. It's going to be posted everywhere. But if you don't get that in the first 24 hours, man, the guy was like, he was slick. The guy was slick, like, it's scary to think about. How to become a world-class MMA coach without the proper fighting background like Greg Jackson. He was so much knowledge and teaching fighters of today. How is that even possible? That's from Verum. Okay, so how does Greg Jackson become a Greg Jackson? Well, I'll tell you something. Look, he was working in an MMA gym, and they had the Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter brought a lot of attention to his fighters. He had Diego Sanchez and a whole host of guys on that show. And he was in a hotbed place where it's cheap to go to New Mexico. He's right next to Vegas, right next to all the action. He had a lot of talented guys. He had boxing coaches. He had wrestlers in the room. He had grapplers in the room. And he's a very intelligent guy. So he kind of learned along. He kind of, watched a lot of MMA. He was in the corners often. He saw one guy, what he was doing. He was a student of the game. And also, he had the facility. He was on the show. It gave him a massive boost. More fighters wanted to work with him. The more success he had, the more fighters wanted to work with him. And it's like a snowball effect, okay? I've worked with him. He's a knowledgeable guy, but he's not the type of guy who's been on the mats, 20 years, competed. He worked out every little kink. No, he's observing from a distance, and he's a very intelligent man, and he has a way to make people work together. He's a very good people person. He's very smart in strategy, and he's a very positive, outgoing person. He has a lot of charisma, And he's just a very intelligent guy. Like, he watches what the wrestling coaches are teaching and he gets the idea and he passes it on, and he sees what the boxing coach does and he's like, that makes sense. He watches a lot of fighting. He's been around the world. He's worked with the best athletes. So over time, he's studied the game. Now, there are many coaches that did it this way. Like Angelo Dundee is arguably one of the greatest boxing coaches in history, and he never put on the gloves. He never sparred. He never got in there. Okay. Now, I think you could do it both ways, but coaches like that are very far and few in between. Most coaches who were very successful, at one point in time, they did it at a high level. Coach, any advice for someone who doesn't want to be an MMA champion but wants to be able to defend himself and his family? That's from Adam. Adam, I wholeheartedly recommend A Man's Guide to Throwing a Punch. That video is made especially for somebody who wants a crash course in boxing, how to develop a boxing routine, the warm-up, the technique, and then the conditioning phase. It's all in there. It comes with a PDF. Make sure to get it. Everybody out there should know how to throw a punch. And a lot of the video is really technical. Okay, so I really recommend you get that one video. Every human being should be able to throw a punch. And of course, you got to know some wrestling and grappling, you know, but that you really need a team. You really need to step into a jiu-jitsu club or wrestling club, and you really need to, you can't just learn that on your own. Okay, there's a certain amount you can do on your own, but it needs to be done with an environment for grappling. But boxing can be really, to a certain level, mastered. And Muay Thai and boxing absolutely can be mastered to a certain level on your own. There's a video of him laying down on the roof and running across the roof into position before the shooting. That's from Josh. Josh, I haven't seen that yet. That's very interesting. I looked up the story today. I did not see that. I look forward to seeing that because I'm really intrigued. Like, how does somebody actually do something like that? It's just I don't know. It's just very difficult to understand. Morning from Brisbane City. Followers, do you know how it feels when you're in the same training room with UFC fighter Calvin Kattar? I was mesmerized. I waved and got a head nod. What's he like, coach? That's from Shiz, guys. Shiz from Brisbane, from Australia. Shiz, my man. Shiz actually came to visit us at TriStar Gym, and he got to hang out with the guys prepping for fights. One of them was Calvin Kattar. He got to talk to them. The guys are always, working around the clock, hard work. And Shiz, my man, came in and hung out with us. Your question was, Shiz, I waved and got a head. No, what's he like? What's he like, coach? Oh, Calvin Kattar is a sweetheart. He's a very gentle guy, very soft-spoken guy, very mild-mannered, friendly, kind, never gets, into any trouble with anybody. He's super sweet. I mean, you can't say anything better than him. He's just hard-working guy, loves the sport, but never has a conflict with anybody. Like, I can't even picture him being mad. He's just a very sweet, kind person. Coach, any advice for someone who doesn't... Oh, I read that one. Okay. Stop talking about this. Can't we stop talking about this? Like, holy crap, what else is there to say? That's from bot number one. But it's a very shocking event. Like, you gotta, I don't want to make this channel into politics. Definitely, okay. I'm not a political expert, but it's so shocking. You're gonna get, if you don't do it, you're gonna get like 50 different messages nonstop. People are gonna start spamming. Sometimes when an event happens this massive, you just gotta get out and address it, and then we can get back to our regular content. It's just people are too feverish, of course. It just happened. It's fresh on our minds. We're all freaking out over it. It's like you're seeing somebody assassinated. And it was a brutal assassination, guys. It was shot in the neck. Like, I saw the unedited video. It's not easy to watch. It was just really shocking, very shocking. I got to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of violence in my life, but this was even made me a little bit queasy, and I've seen a ton of violence. I just can't believe that somebody could be so brutal. And it's even worse. Like, look, I understand America is very political. Like, I understand it's very polarized, the politics. But a lot of people are online just celebrating. Like, I literally saw somebody post the Bart Simpson's character who always like, ha, like, seriously, somebody posted that. Like, it's just vicious, man. People are vicious. People are inhumane, vicious. Like, think about his family. His family must be in such heartbreak. They must be in such trauma. They must be suffering so badly. And people are like celebrating. I lose faith in humanity sometimes. I think it's just disgusting, And I'll tell you something. When I saw the Charlie Kirk, like, I don't really go on other social medias. I just mainly stick to YouTube. And I saw Charlie Kirk shot and killed. And then I saw right under that, 8-year-old shot and murdered by 15-year-old gunman. I'm like, what? How's that possible? Like, what am I reading? Like, what am I seeing? What is this feed I have? How did a 15-year-old get a gun? How the hell did he manage to shoot an 8-year-old? Like, just like the and then of course there was a famous stabbing you see on the butt. Like, just the news was just really bad. The last few days has been really, really bad. Like, it's sad. And the reaction from people. The man has 2 children and a wife, they're obviously grieving. And people are just celebrating, putting videos of them dancing and making like I get it, you don't agree with the man, but there's a certain amount of respect. Everybody should have a certain amount of respect, even for the person you hate the most. Even for the person you hate the most, you dislike the most, there's a level where you don't go below the belt. Salam, coach. Your beard is looking fantastic today. That's from Roy Ray. Roy Ray, you're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. I do groom it a little for you guys. I get out of the shower and I'm like, I'm podcasting today. Let me straighten up a little. Don't let this distract you from the fact that Congress voted to not release the Epstein files yesterday. That's from Safi. Safi. Yeah, I wonder why. A lot of important people must be on that list. A lot of important people must be on that list. Now, I got to tell you, I watched the documentary, the Epstein documentary. I couldn't get more than like 40 minutes into it. It's just grossed me out. I found it creepy. Man, what can I tell you? Rich people, sometimes they act crazy. I hope justice is served. I hope that list is released, but it's just too creepy, man. It's just really kind of make my skin crawl. Well, I did see a documentary recently. Oh my God, man. You want to lose faith in humanity? And I'm like quite an optimistic person. I really think people are generally good. I think that people, when you have a bad interaction with them, there's some kind of misunderstanding somewhere. That's my usual default position. But I'll tell you, I saw a documentary, and spoiler alert, okay, for those of you who want to watch this documentary, I'm going to describe it, and before I spoil it, I'm going to give you time to change the channel here. It's about this young girl. This is a documentary on Netflix. She's getting texts, and vile texts. Like, somebody's texting her like, you're so ugly, you should go and unalive yourself. I'm using code here. You're so horrible. She's getting nasty texts about her and her boyfriend. So your boyfriend is cheating on you with me and all this. And the girl is like this young girl. She's like a high school, like just some young, small town girl. Now, if you don't want spoiler alert, please change the channel because I'm about to spoil it in a minute or two. And I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, this is like pretty crazy. Like, why would somebody pick on this poor girl? And the girl is being texted like 40 texts a day. Just vile spewing throughout the day, throughout the night. And then she gets a text. The person's at a Christmas party of her boyfriend's Christmas party. So she's being antagonized. This girl that's texting this young teenager is saying, look, I'm with your boyfriend. You don't know, but your boyfriend's like secretly cheating on you. And she's using profanities. She's having sexual relations with her boyfriends, and she's using profanities to describe it to this young girl. And you're thinking, wow, this person's pretty evil, but eventually they're going to catch her, right? This is a documentary. And they're interviewing everybody in the neighborhood. They're interviewing all her friends. They're playing like, okay, it could be this person. It could be that person. They're trying to eliminate one character after another. And of course, eventually they figure it out. They bring a cyber detective. The guy figures it out. Who's the person sending these nasty texts? Who is it? The young girl that was receiving the texts was getting the texts from her own mother. Yeah. Like, her own mother was calling her daughter ugly, nasty, this, that, you're flat, you're ugly, you're disgusting. I'm having sexual relations with your boyfriend. Your boyfriend's too good for you. We hate you. Go unalive yourself. Go delete yourself. Anyway, she gets charged. She gets thrown in the slammer, and her daughter are forbidden from interacting with each other. The judge gives like a restraining order, and her daughter are still texting each other every day. Her and her daughter still have a relationship. The father comes home. He finds this out. Now, guys, I got to tell you something. If I came home to find out this news, now, I don't know what I would do. I'm telling you, I don't know what I would do, because this guy, Oh my God, man. I don't know how I would handle it, but like, I'm sure he divorced her and all that. I'm sure, like, but it was such a sick, twisted documentary, and it makes you kind of wonder, like people, how low do people go? Like, how low can a human being go? It's quite low. It's quite scary. It's quite shocking. Rigas, gotta rewind that. The whole first 10, 15 minutes of this podcast is this. Okay, so Rigas is asking me what do you think about the Charlie Kirk assassination? I did it. We might talk about it some more later, but I talked about it ad nauseum. Now I'm talking about some sick documentary I saw on Netflix. A sick documentary. Unbelievable. But it's not even the sickest documentary I've ever seen. You want to know the sickest documentary I've ever seen? It's called Abducted in Plain Sight. Abducted in Plain Sight. Now, guys, I'm going to ruin the documentary right now. So if you want to watch the sickest documentary that's ever been filmed, change the channel. Stop listening to me. Just click to something else, because I'm about to spoil it. I'm giving you fair enough warning. The sickest, most twisted, unbelievably disgusting documentary I've ever seen. I don't even know if I want to go through it. I don't even know if I want to recant it. But it's a documentary called Abducted in Plain Sight. What's this documentary about? Oh, God. I don't know how these people exist, but it's about these two church families. They meet at church. Friendly. So kind, so friendly, such an innocent time. It was the 70s. And they have children about the same age. You have two couples with kids, and they're going to get together after church, and everything is cool, and everybody's friendly, and everybody's so getting along, and it's a beautiful life, and they're painting you this picture that everybody's so happy, and we got along so well. Fantastic. What a beautiful start. What a beautiful story. And then they tell you the dad from one family was obsessed with the daughter of the other family, this 8-year-old girl. He was obsessed with her. And her parents of this 8-year-old girl notice, hey, he's taking pictures of her all the time. He's always obsessed with her. He's always talking about her. He's always like wanting to be near her. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird, man. Maybe we don't hang out with this guy anymore. But no, they're going to still hang out with each other. And, they describe it as a different time where people were more innocent back then. And I believe it. I grew up in the 80s, in the 80s. It wasn't the 70s, but it was still more of an innocent time, okay? That's before people were on OnlyFans and like Tinder and like we were not angels in the 80s, but we were not this over the top, okay? And now this guy decides to abduct the daughter. Okay? He takes her. He flees to Mexico and marries her in Mexico. Why? The legal age in Mexico is like 9 years old, and the girl had been 9 now. Legal age of marriage is 9 years old in Mexico at the time. This is the 70s, okay? He marries her and says, look, I'm not coming back unless you sign a document saying you approve my marriage and we're going to get married and we're legally married in America as well. Now, of course, this is a kidnapping. It's still against the law. Like, you think they're going to find this guy and throw him in the slammer and you'll never hear of him again. That's not what they do. Actually, the parents took over a week to call the kidnapping in. Think about this, okay? So the man takes the daughter, flees to Mexico. He said, I'm going to take her horseback riding. Oh, let me take her. Who sends their daughter alone with a man to go horseback riding? I'm like, no, you can't take my daughter horseback riding. But the mother was like, okay, I'll let you take her. But she has two other sisters of similar age. Why isn't he taking all three kids horseback riding with his kids? How come he's going alone horsebacking with one person, one child? Doesn't make any sense, right? So she's trying to describe it was a different time. I don't agree with that, okay? Even in the 70s, that's weird, okay? This is over the top for me. Takes her to Mexico and marries her. So you think, okay, well, you're going to go Cain Velasquez now, right? You're going to go Cain Velasquez, full Cain Velasquez, and Coach is not saying no. Coach is saying go for it. I mean, that's what makes sense in this situation. The person kidnapped your child. No, they didn't do that. They waited a week to call the police because they don't want to bother anybody. They don't want to make a fuss with the police. Craziness. They finally call the federale. They arrest him in Mexico. They bring her back and him, and the guy gets a slap on the wrist. They don't want to press charges. The parents don't press charges. Why? Let me tell you why. That guy was such a slippery snake that when he when he met the other family, he knew that if he wanted to get with that young girl, if he wanted to have her, he had to have some kind of blackmail on the parents. Okay, so what he did is he seduced the mother first. He seduced the man's wife. So the wife is admitting that she was making out with him, that she was flirting with him, that she, didn't have sex with him at that point, but she had some kind of physical contact. She did, cheat on her husband. She did kiss him, touching, groping, whatever. So when the child comes back, you're kind of reading between the lines. Why didn't they have this man sent in jail? They literally refused to press charges and said they knew the whole time they were together and it's okay and he had permission. They totally covered for the guy who abducts their daughter. So you think, well, mind blow. Yes, a total mind blow, but it gets worse. It gets way worse. The man kidnapped your daughter. Your wife was making out with him. He's using that as blackmail to have you drop the charges. Now the man is going out into society again. He gets back somehow into good graces. Now I'm watching this. I can't tear my hair out, but if I had long enough hair, I would probably tear it out during this documentary. He tells him, "Look, I'm trying to rehabilitate myself. I was such a bad person. I don't know what I did, but my psychologist told me the way to rehabilitate myself is to actually sleep with the child in bed while I'm listening to these tapes." And you think, that doesn't make any sense. I would ask my wife to get my gun and I would handle my business. Like I would just not allow anybody near my child. And the father is like, in the interview, the father's saying this in his own words. He's like, oh yeah, you know what? Makes sense. I'm not a psychologist. What can I say? I mean, okay, if that's what's going to make you feel better, go ahead. So the documentary is saying that he was sleeping in her bed 4 nights a week. And it gets worse. One stunning shocker after another. Guys, this documentary is too sick. It's too sick. Not only that, the predator, he's still befriending the dad, takes the dad out on a drive. He's like, hey, man, I got to talk to you. I know I'm having a lot of trouble. He's like, what? I'm having marital problems. So you're having marital problems. Now, don't forget, this guy has groped his wife. He's kidnapped his daughter, married his daughter, his underage daughter. He's been coercing him to let him sleep in the room. Now, he's using blackmail to do that. Like, if you read between the lines in the documentary, obviously the dad is yielding. This is the worst father in history. This is the worst mother and father in history because it gets worse. It gets really worse. The story is so sick. So sick. The father's in the car with him, and I can tell you, I think the father's a homosexual. Okay, I'm not going to say the word because, algorithm. He's a homo something or other with an X in there, I could tell, personally. And the father's like, okay, he took me out for a drive, and he's like, I'm having a lot of trouble with my wife. She's not giving me any affection. She's not giving me physical contact. And then he's like, look, I need some relief. Can you help me out? Can you really help me out? I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here. I really need some relief. And he's like, well, I don't know. And he's like, he pulled over the car. He kind of exposed himself. And now the father's crying now. He's like, for the first time in my marital life, I committed the sin of cheating on my wife with a man. Like he used his hand to, what? I'm like, dude, this guy kidnapped your daughter, groped your wife, and now you're servicing the man? So now this guy, the predator, he has more blackmail. Now he's using the fact that the father is what? And the mother also had physical contact with him. He's using that now to get the daughter even more in his grips. And now, like, the story just gets so crazy. I won't go through the whole thing, but it's just so mind-blowingly crazy that you think this is not possible. Nobody could pull this off. But yet, there is people out there so dumb, so gullible. And by the way, guys, plot twist. The wife ends up sleeping with the guy after. Not only he kidnapped their daughter. By the way, the daughter grows older, and then she falls in love with him. She's obsessed with living with the guy. She wants to be with the guy. The story gets so sick and twisted. As the girl gets older, of course, then she realizes she was a whatever, and then she turns on him, and the whole family turns on him, and then the guy ends up, I believe, unaliving himself. He ends up unaliving himself. He goes to court. He's found guilty for something. He gets unalived. I mean, the story is so deep. It's so crazy. It's so mind-bogglingly shocking, but I just can't believe that this exists. Like, I can't believe people actually fall into this stuff. It's just insane. All right, guys, let's try to get on something more positive. I can't watch any more of these Netflix documentaries. They're just too much for me. Coach, thoughts on fighting nerds? Are they certified cheeks? That's from Larry Bird. Larry Bird, I saw the Roofy BSD fight. And I was really impressed with BSD. I thought this was going to be a very tough fight for him. He did it in his hometown. He fought a beautiful fight. A lot of people are saying, oh, fraud check. Rufi is a fraud check. No, Rufi's a stud. He's going to be back. He's going to win. I know Nerds had 2 losses that night. It's just a bad night. Their record's still immaculate. They're very, very successful. People always do that. Some guy who's a superstar loses a fight, and then everybody's like, oh, fraud check. The guy sucks. The guy's pathetic. The guy's... No, the guy's a killer. He got caught. He has weaknesses. He's going to go back. He's going to work on them. He threw a knee that grazed the chin of BSD, and I mean, that could have been the end of the night for BSD as well. It could have been the other way. He could have had a stellar night as well. BSD was gritty. He shot in, got to the body locks, got Rufi down. It wasn't easy. Even Rufi had reversed him at one point. He was getting his back taken, got on top of BSD. In the second round, you could see Rufi slowing down, BSD putting on the gas. I got to give it to BSD. He's game, man. He's really game. He's moving forward. He's a threat. It was an epic win for him. It was crazy. Good performance. But again, guys, for those you know fighting, you know Rufi's a stud. The Nerds are studs. They're a legendary team already. I know Kayo, he lost. Kayo lost. But again, he lost to Imanov. And I picked Imanov to win that fight. I thought Nasruddin would win that fight. I think Nasruddin is probably going to get the next title shot, or it's going to be the winner from RDR and Puffy. Fluffy, not Puffy. Too much negative things in my head. Fluffy and RDR are going to fight, so one of those guys is going to get the title shot again. Kamzat, I can't wait to see who it is, but the Fighting Nerds are 100% legit. Is Raja Jackson in prison yet? Oh, goodness gracious. Please tell me he's in prison. I haven't been following. Has Raja Jackson gone to prison? Guys, I interviewed on this channel. Oh, AI, what the hell? As of early September 2025, Raja Jackson has not been arrested or gone to prison for his attack of pro wrestler Psycho Stu during an August 2025 wrestling event. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. Come on, man. I can't believe this, man. I can't believe the man is not arrested. Not arrested. No, he's not arrested. Raja Jackson is going down for years. Well, let's see. If he gets arrested, imagine he doesn't get arrested. Raja Jackson can face legal trouble as LAPD gathers information. Come on, guys. It's been forever. How much information do you need? The guy live streamed it. Now, recently I released a video of my interview with Douglas, the guy who rescued a Psycho Stu, and in the video, of course we both condemn. And guys, all my clips you see, I condemn Raja Jackson. I'm not justifying what the man did. I said it openly. The man deserves to go do hard time. What I did say though is it's also not good to hit people in the head with a can. Now I don't think Psycho Stu needs to be punished. He's been punished more than enough. I'm just saying, in terms of etiquette, guys, it's not right to touch somebody without consent. And of course, Douglas, the guy who rescued Psycho Stu, said, of course, if somebody did that to me in the locker room, I would punch him right back. And we're in agreement on that, but we're also in agreement that Raja Jackson's completely in the wrong. His response was not appropriate at all. It was absurd. It went totally nuclear. He deserves hard time. It's totally wrong. But some people were seeing that one clip, and fair enough. The guy who clipped it, one of my students clipped it. Maybe he didn't put on the best context, but a lot of people thought, I'm giving excuses for Raja Jackson. Far from it, okay? No, 100% wrong. Raja Jackson's 100% wrong. Psycho Stu's been more than punished. All I was additionally saying is that that's not proper etiquette. In even a locker room of professional wrestlers with a camera rolling, the guy's not in costume. There's an etiquette. That's not what they normally do, and that's why Douglas confirmed that. He did say also, to be fair, he said, when a camera's there, anything can happen. Okay, I understand you. But this guy's not a worker, as they put it. He's not in uniform. What? Psycho Stu might have asked around first, hey, is that guy one of us? Or, he could have took some precautions. Because generally speaking, guys, I would tell you, never make contact with somebody without consent. Now, unintentional contact can happen. But if you do something like that, there are crazies in the world. That's the whole point, is there are crazies that are not going to give a measured response. They're going to go nuclear. And that's what I was trying to get to, is like, in terms of self-preservation, in terms of being smart, streetwise, the first thing is not to get into altercation. The second, last resort, is to defend yourself. And never is there an option to go nuclear like Raja Jackson did, okay? But a lot of people took it as, Coach, are you defending Raja Jackson? No, far from it, okay? Far from defending the man. Lopez or Silva, coach? Thank you, Larry Bird. Thank you for that MMA related question. Guys, I'm going with Silva. I think he's going to get it done. It's happening this weekend. I am very excited about that fight. Faces of Death was pretty gruesome. That's from Gone Later By. Gone Later By, you're right. That was a video. We used to rent it as kids. We used to play this video called Faces of Death. And it was like every gruesome attack caught on video. That was a documentary they put together, Faces of Death. So you'd see a guy getting eaten by a crocodile. You see all sorts of nasty things. I don't want to go over it, but let's just say it was a gruesome series, and it was like a dare for us when we were young. Hey, let's rent Faces of Death and watch it, It was very, very gruesome, and as kids, it was like the big thing if you were tough enough to watch a Faces of Death documentary. Canelo versus Crawford. That's from Marquitos. That's a tough call. That's a really tough call. I think I'm going to go with a Canelo. Can you predict fights instead? Yes, sir. I can predict. Cain Velasquez only guilty of being a bad shot. That's from Larry Bird. Larry Bird, you're not far from the truth. When it comes to children, I totally understand the man. I do. Oh, no, I can't read this. Okay, guys, let's try to stick to MMA and fitness now. Oh, goodness gracious. Salah, I already did. I went through the whole Kirk thing. The whole thing, okay? All I'm saying is even if you don't agree with somebody, it's never called for. Political violence is never called for. Salam, coach, any advice on tips for a positive relationship between families from different cultures and contexts of marriage? I am Albanian. My girlfriend is Turkish. We live in Germany. That's from Adhe. You should learn her culture. You should assimilate a little bit, compromise between the two cultures. A small assimilation where both of you feel like your cultures are respected. Culture is super important, guys. Even like I've traveled all over the world, like I did jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing all over the world. People's lives are very different everywhere. But through martial arts, we always make a room for everybody's culture. Like even in Canada, we're very multicultural. We make a little bit of room for everybody's culture equally, but we don't want one culture to over-dominate everybody else because it kind of like excludes others. We try to make room for everybody, a coexistence and a type of, a cohesiveness. Rooftop Productions. Hey, coach, recently at the gym, there has been an opportunity to teach beginners classes, and the idea of being a coach is really appealing to me. I'm currently 22 years old. What steps should I take if I want to accomplish this? That's from Rooftop. Rooftop, I will tell you something. The art of teaching is all about making things simple to understand. Your job as a coach is to explain everything you know in small, easy to digest bites. Okay, so I highly recommend my basics program. Watch volume 1, 2, and 3. Those are the 3 most important volumes. Get that. I've been teaching the basics for over 25 years. In my opinion, I'm always getting better at how to teach the basics. Better and better. Watch those videos. You're going to jump 20 years ahead in your teaching ability. Try to teach exactly like I'm teaching. It's all about learning to teach in threes. Don't give somebody more than 3 things to remember. What are the 3 most important things? And then I'm going to show you the move again, and I'm going to add 3 more things after you've mastered the first 3. So I go in threes, and I try to keep it very, very simple. And the more advanced the student is, the more complex the explanation. So if I'm training a room full of black belts, I'm going to get more complicated because they can follow. If I'm training a room full of white belts, I'm getting really simple here. Simpler is better. Simplifying is really the art of teaching. Can I take something that I know and teach it in a simple form? That's really, in my opinion, what a masterful trainer does. Coach, finally catching a live. Alhamdulillah. That's from Zuhaib. Zuhaib, salam alaikum. Welcome to the chat, the live chat. Happy to have you here, my friend. Coach, I can use a Boso ball instead of a stability ball when doing strong and stable knees, at least for beginning with. That's from Hani. Yes, absolutely. You can start with a Boso ball, a half Boso ball. It'll make things easier for you, absolutely. But don't forget, you have to ultimately graduate to the stability ball. What's your opinion on the guy who got his BJJ black belt in record time? That's from Entertain45. Entertain45. What's that guy's name? Let me see him roll. I want to see him. Everybody's talking to me about this guy. Even my students at the gym. They're like, Coach, have you seen? I even know his name now. His name is Moneyberg. 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 Let me look him up. Drilling. Let's see him drilling. I could tell you by his drilling. I could tell you how. Moneyberg. Hold on a second. I mistyped. Moneyberg. BJJ drilling. Okay, let's see him drilling. Oh, he's a huge guy, actually. Oh, he's a huge, massive guy.
And, you know, ideally 7-8% body fat, something like something is good. Yeah, I weigh 260.
Oh, no, I said.
He's 260. Oh, he's a giant guy. Okay, I can't find anywhere of him drilling here. I'm trying to find Moneyberg drilling. Moneyberg. $300,000. Dunnyberg is biggest camera in BJJ right now. Moneyberg. No, there's nothing of him drilling. Let's see here, Jake Shields. Okay.
Jake Shields, is sellout, bro.
Just got your black belt. Went to the conference for me. Extremely fast, 4 years, which is a little ridiculous. But you know, originally that was your goal. I kind of laughed at you and said, "Yeah, it's not going to happen." But
3 years and 7 months.
Yeah, but like I said originally, I'm like, no, you're being idiotic. But you're so obsessed, you know, with the training every single day, putting in the work. You know, I'm your head coach, but then you also brought in an entire team of phenomenal coaches like Hoist Gracie, Chuck Liddell, Glover Teixeira. You go on and on. Leota Moshida,
Musumeci, Gordon Ryan, brought in a lot of the coaches from the gyms.
Guys, if the guy's 250, okay, if he's 250, oh my god. Okay, I'm watching him hit pads right now, okay? I'm watching the man hit pads. Okay?
I know we don't do this, but
He looks horrible.
I feel like I have to make an apology.
No, this is horrible. This is horrible. Okay, now his striking is abysmal. Abysmal. Okay, now again, he's not a striking black belt. Guys, what can I tell you? There's zero video of him drilling. Okay, I can't see any of his jiu-jitsu moving around. So I'm looking at his striking. His striking, I could talk to you. I'll tell you about it. It's abysmal. It's not bad. It's abysmal. Coach, what cologne do you wear? My wife got me some weird cologne. She loves it. I forget what it's called. It's like a weird cologne she found in some weird shop. But I generally wear that French cologne. I get it from one of my students, gives it me as a gift. And I'm forgetting the name of it now. Did you reconciliate with Keanu Reeves? JB19, I don't think Keanu Reeves knows I exist. Okay. I don't think he knows I exist. How to stop blinking and closing eyes during sparring? Thanks, coach. That's from Arm Wolf. I think just sparring over time, you'll stop flinching. A lot of people have that problem when they start. They flinch, but that quickly you can overcome it quickly. Tips for not getting tired in training. I've been training MMA for 1 month now. Thanks, coach. That's from account. 1 month is really, really early. I would tell you, look, just do the most basic physical conditioning. The most basic. Okay, don't get fancy. Resist the fancy stuff. Coach, I'm currently 144 pounds, 16.5% body fat. Can I fight MMA at flyweight? That's from Full Metal. Full Metal, you're a little too fatty, man. Honestly, that's too fatty. Really too fatty. Can you get to flyweight? Sure, but you know, I wouldn't be concerned about that. I'd be concerned of getting my body fat down to 12%, okay, and building some muscle. And don't fight until you at least get 12%, okay, because you're not in shape enough, okay? At 16.5% body fat, you're too out of shape. You're gonna get hurt doing MMA at a professional level. So don't worry about fighting professionally right now. Let's just get to, you know, a good fitness level first. Okay, super chats done, guys. Don't forget, I'm always doing super chats and non-super chats. Coach, if someone wasn't the best wrestler in wrestling, should they still try to be the best wrestler in MMA? That's some tafara. Yes, absolutely. Guys, I used to train with John Jones on a regular basis. He used to tell me he wasn't the best wrestler. Like, he's one of the best takedown artists ever in MMA. Same goes for Georges St. Pierre. You think Georges St. Pierre was the best wrestler in the practice room? No, far from it. Far from it. Do you think Merab is the best wrestler in the practice room? Hell no. Hell no. MMA wrestling, you think Shamaev is the best? Look, Shamaev is a great wrestler, but he's not the best wrestler. And when they go trains in Chechnya, you think he's the best wrestler in the room? No, he's not. Okay? But in MMA, he's the best wrestler today. Okay? So it's not the best wrestler in the practice room that's necessarily going to be the best. Why? Because striking has a lot to do now with our setups. You know, the dynamics have heavily changed. Okay? It's still relevant, but that dynamics have changed. They've signed a non-disclosure agreement to endorse Moneyberg and never admit he's not a black belt. That's from Death to Derp. Death to Derp. It's probably something like that because his striking looks abysmal. Now, I don't care how many people you train with, okay? Musa Mechi, this and that. Getting your black belt in 3 years and 7 months is ridiculously fast. Now, because he's 250 pounds, he might school a lot of higher belts because all he has to do is lay on them. And they might have said, oh, well, he's beating up this 170-pound brown belt and let's give him a belt. You know, he's good enough. So maybe they, you know, got some kind of incentive and just turned the blind eye. And the guy's 250. You know, how many people out there are 250? The guy's huge. But generally, you're not supposed to give a guy who's 250 a black belt unless he understands the positions, unless he can move like a black belt. He has to have the understanding of a black belt because for sure, everybody he's rolling with is probably like close to 100 pounds smaller than him. Could you imagine me in a room full of people of weighing 70 pounds? Like 100 pounds? Like I would just walk over them. So weight does matter. I didn't know the guy was that big. The guy's ginormous. So that's probably how they justified it. You know, oh, well, he's doing well in the practice room, so we got to give him his black belt, you know. And, of course, they're probably benefiting from it somehow, some way. Again, this is me saying that without seeing him move. But the thing is, like, if he was so good, why don't you just show us a video of him training? Hi, Coach. I'm a brand new fighter, and I'm having trouble waking up for the bells at night. Do you have any tips on how to become a lighter sleeper? Waking up for the bells at night. I don't know what you mean by the bells at night. Jake Stevens. Hi, Coach. I'm a brand new fighter, and I'm having trouble waking up for the bells at night. Bells must be the bells at night. Do you have any how to become a lighter sleeper? Jack Stevens. You mean like your alarm clock or something? I'm sorry, man. I wish you would have been more clear. I have no idea what you're asking me. Bells on parade. I have no idea what that means. Bro live is Notre Dame. Bro lives in Notre Dame. The church bells, is that it? I don't know what you're talking about, friend. Hadi Kuba. Thanks for having me at the gym, Coach. I'm a blue belt. Any tips for my first BJJ competition? I have a month left to train. That's from Hadi. Hadi, yes, have fun, man. Enjoy it. This is your best competition. Try to give yourself a carte blanche. You know, tell yourself, look, the first 30 matches don't count. Do 30 matches and then reassess because that's not a lot in jiu-jitsu, okay? Just go out there, have fun, enjoy the experience, and whatever happens, go back to the drawing board. Whether you win or lose, whether you beat everybody 10-0 or sub them all or lose 10-0, go back to the drawing board. That's the real success. You know, you go back and you improve and you improve and you improve and you keep proving, and then at a certain point, you're going to be winning. Winning is going to be like a thing you constantly do. Coach, would you do a Thai clinch instructional? Any stories from clinching the Thais? That's from Andrew. Andrew, of course, one day I will definitely do a Muay Thai clinch instructional. I train heavily in Thailand clinching, of course. Every session would end with clinching. So we do running, we do jump rope, we hit the bag, we do our shadow boxing, we do our mitts. And the session would end with like play sparring and clinching. And sometimes the clinching will go on for over 1 hour. The Thais are the greatest clinchers in combat history. There's never been, I'm not talking about takedowns, obviously, because they're not allowed takedowns like in wrestling. Okay, they're not allowed to use the hip. They're not allowed to. They're not to lift and suplex in certain ways. Okay, they can lift and toss. They can lift and trip. They could just they have some allowance, but they can't do like a uchimata. You're not allowed that in Thai boxing. Okay, they do a lot of grabbing the upper body and throwing you. And yes, there is some foot sweeps involved. Some beautiful takedowns in Thailand and Thai boxing. However, it's mainly concerned with elbowing and kneeing. Okay, so if you're winning in the clinch, it's because you're landing more knees and elbows. Not really you're thumping the guy on his back. Okay, it's not really considered as impressive. If I knee and elbow you twice and you dump me to the floor, I'm winning because they're gonna count the impact. If me and you are clinching and nobody's really landing and I dump you and the fight is super close and that's all there was, you might get the nod with throwing somebody to the floor. But I'm telling you, throwing somebody to the floor is not highly rated. It's not highly scored. It's mostly will you connect with your knees and elbows. Now, of course, you can punch from the clinch, but they're not big on dirty boxing. Like you see that a lot in MMA, right? Somebody's going to grab you behind the neck and start kind of punching you. And you saw RDR do that a lot to Bo Nickel. He had him kind of in an overhook and he was kind of punching him to the body. And that kind of stuff you won't really see in Thai boxing. They just don't really fight that way. Them, it's really about sneaking in powerful elbows and powerful knees. And I'll tell you something. They are by far the best in clinching. One time I remember George was doing The Ultimate Fighter and we had French Thai boxer. I'm forgetting his name now. A really good friend of mine. How could I forget his name? This is gonna kill me. I have to find his name. French. Oh my God, I know this guy super well. He was just here a few months ago. He was at my gym. Oh yes. I just typed in. His name is Jean-Charles. I just put French Thai boxer. First video comes up. GSP brings in drunk training partner. Okay, guys, I got to show this video. This video is too epic. It's too epic. Give me a moment. I'm probably gonna get demonetized, but it's okay. This video is worth it. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna put it on. Oh, this is such an epic video. Give me a moment here, guys. You're gonna see Thai clinching extraordinaire. Okay, a Thai clinching genius step into the MMA world. Okay, guys, I'm seconds away from playing this video. Please give me just a second. I'm gonna do some button pushing magic, and here it is. Okay, here's the video. Okay, actually, let's see if I can expand it. Okay, yes, even better. Hold on a second. Look at this. Hold on. Am I a button-pushing genius now? Hold on. Yes, a window within a window. Okay, guys, so watch this. GSP brings in a Muay Thai specialist named Jean-Charles Skarbowski. Okay, and he's going to be clinching and doing Muay Thai with some MMA guys. Okay. Now you have to understand. Jean-Charles is a partier. At this stage in his career, he's a partier. Okay, now I was supposed to be here, but I had a pending court case, so I couldn't travel to America. Okay, so that's the reason why I wasn't here. I had this ridiculous case on my hands, and I couldn't leave Canada. I could have gotten in a lot of trouble if I didn't show up to court. Okay, so I ended up winning the case. It was stupid. It really blocked my ability to be on this show, okay, which I really wanted to be. Now, George brings in Jean-Charles Skarbowski, an elite Thai fighter who fought in Thailand and grew up in training in Thailand. Like, he's a Frenchman, but he trained in Thailand for decades at a time. Okay, he's very famous. He's a great friend of ours. And at this stage in his career, he was a big drinker. He would go out all night, party. He's in Las Vegas, partying, smoking, drinking, partying, smoking. And he would show up to practice after going to an after-hours club, like at a rave. There's young John Denahar, super stud John Denahar, soon to be mega master trainer. And here's Jean-Charles Skarbowski. Okay, he walks in. He just came back from a beach party. Now, George called me after this. George was furious. He was like, oh, he came to the show drunk. Oh, he smacked everybody around. He completely annihilates all the MMA guys. Hold on, let's play the volume here.
Apparently, John Charles, he only sleeps like 3 hours a night, and before practice, he like gets wasted. Like he just drinks a ton of alcohol and just goes in there with a bunch of MMA fighters, and
that's Jonathan Brookins. Now you're gonna see some real clinching.
He's gonna knee him in the head.
He went down with a kick to the arm.
Very, very good.
Guys, all he did is kick him in the arm, and not full force. He just gave him a little love touch. And that's Jake McKenzie. He had to stop. He had to drop his arm. It's like total pain. I know that kick. I know that kick very well. It kicks you with the shin, the thick part of their shin. And ba-bam. That's a world-class Muay Thai fighter, okay?
With a good heart, but you cannot have the same lifestyle that Jean-Charles has, because us, as a martial artist, we need to not smoke, we need to not drink. And Jean-Charles, he lived in Thailand for a very long time, so in Thailand, it's different mentality. They smoke, they drink, and they fight every day, you know, so...
Jean-Charles is awesome.
That's Alex Caceres, okay? Alex Caceres, I think he had like 30 fights in UFC. Not at this point, obviously. He's early in his career, but he's just toying with these guys.
But at the same time, it sucks.
Guys, he blows you a kiss. Jean-Charles Skarbowski, guys. What can I say? What can I say? The guy's a killer. He is a killer, friends. And that's what a Thai guy looks like, guys. They have incredible clinching. I used to spend my summers clinching with them, and I trained plenty with Jean-Charles Skarbowski. Spent months with us at TriStar Gym. I've been kicked in the arm like that. I've been kneed in the body like that. Believe me when I tell you, it's something. You know, it's again, even for a Thai, he's not. Look, he's a French fighter. He's known more for his boxing in Thailand than his clinching. His clinching is considered good. There's higher levels of clinching. This is not the highest level of clinching in Thailand. Believe me when I tell you. This is not the highest level. There are much higher levels of clinching. Like if I put those Thais, the highest level clinchers in Thai boxing, in that octagon, they would have mopped up. They would have put those guys in a body bag. Jean-Charles is a good clincher. He's not the best. Now he's known for his boxing. He's a great kicker and a good boxer in Thai boxing. Just to show you the levels. And the striking in MMA was nowhere near the level of a striker in Thai boxing. Just nowhere near, especially at that time. Especially those guys are really early in their career. I thought he was Ryan Hall for a second. 7'6". I could see the slight resemblance, but no. No, that's Muay Thai extraordinaire Jean-Charles Skarbowski. Yeah, guys, that's an epic video. Let me tell you something. And George wasn't happy about it. No, he was upset. He's like, oh, he's making me look bad. He's making it look like we're drunks, you know. I'm like, George, you know, just talk to him, you know. But the guy's he's addicted to partying. Even when he was training us in Montreal, like he just couldn't stop going. He would literally smoke in the car with George. I was like, hey, Jean-Charles, do you mind putting out the cigarette? He's like, what's the big deal? In Thailand, everybody smokes and drinks. Like the top fighters even smoke and drink. It's just a different culture. No, actually, I shouldn't say that. No. They don't all smoke and drink. No, the majority of them, the top guys who are trying to chase that money, they're trying to win a big title, they're very disciplined. But you'll still see some of them at the highest level smoking and drinking. It's not that uncommon, is what I'm trying to say. But I'll tell you, the vast majority don't drink and smoke until after they retire. But after they retire, it's culturally quite common that they smoke and drink. Very culturally common. Like everybody drinks. Alcohol is very popular in Thailand. George has a French accent. Yeah, that's right, Salim. His English wasn't very good at that time. He actually really improved his English after coming back from The Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter was he did it, I think, 2 or 3 times. He did it once as a guest coach, and he spent a month there or something like that. And then he did his own episode with Koscheck versus Koscheck, and he really learned a lot of English. Like he had a leap of English. Why? He was immersed every single day in speaking English. It was crazy. He came back speaking like at just a new level of English. Okay, guys, I see a lot of Charlie Kirk stuff. I talked about it early in the episode. Okay, we're gonna kind of, move on to another topic. I talked about it plenty. I wanted to do it justice. It's a big event, yes, but we got to move on now to other topics. All right, guys, let's try to end it on a fun one. Somebody give me something light, positive, and fun to end on. What is the name of the takedown about knee drop like GSP? I'm not sure which one you mean, but the one we saw in the video, I think it was a Kosoto Gake. Just kind of like, it's like when you put your leg behind his leg and you throw his upper body over the leg that you're blocking and he stumbles over, that's generally a Kosoto Gake. Coach, thoughts on the chick that got stabbed in the train? Okay, guys, I didn't see the video. I heard about it. It's just, I'm sad for humanity right now. From what I understand, the guy had a mental problem. He was released from an institute or a prison or something. And it's a sad week for humanity. What can I say? Lots of violence in the news. I don't know much details, so unfortunately I can't say. What's your favorite GSP fight? That's from Sofa King. My favorite, ultimate, favorite, tip of the tippy top, cream of the crop fight was the BJ Penn fight. Why? It was champion versus champion. We were not a big group yet. It was really the hardcore originals. We were working together. We were young and we were very, scared, and we were like, really wanted to win. We wanted to win this fight so badly. We literally did everything we possibly could to prepare as best we could at the time. We were really unified together, super tight. We were a tight-knit group. Our whole existence was, our whole like day-to-day was like, how do we beat this guy? We wanted that win so bad. We knew if we got that win, we were going to be on the map and we're going to be part of this. We're just going to reach a new level of success. And believe me, we did. And that was the time they had the prime time, the first prime time ever. They were following us around for about 30 days. Every day, the cameras, wake up, the cameras are there. Go to bed, the cameras are there. I just did one right now, and it was only 2 days of filming for UFC. I found it be like, it disrupts their schedule. That was for a month. Like, look, don't get me wrong. I love, doing the job, like telling the story. It's important. That's part of the show. But it kind of interrupts training, right? You got to, like, I had to do an interview at 8 a.m. I had to do that. Like, there's other obligations, and we're training really hard. And I need a nap in the noon or the afternoon. I need to lay down. I don't get to lay down. I have to talk to a camera. I have to do this. I have to do these shots. You're kind of acting. You're kind of like half actor, half coach, and half actor, half fighter. We're exhausted. I just did it for 2 days, and I had to take a power nap here and there. Like, it taxed me. That was 30 days. And I had a wife and kids. My kids were young. So the schedule was not suffocating. Guys, I don't want to say it wasn't negative. It was positive. It was just really tough. So we had to do it. BJ Penn had to do it. It's stressful. The UFC wants these shots. The UFC wants this. And you're prepping for a fight. And you're super nervous about the fight. And you really want to get this win. So it's like making UFC happy, but also getting our training done. It was crazy time. And I'm happy we did it. And I think we did it the best we could. There's only so many hours in the day, so there's some compromise here and there to be done. And it was so relieving to see the fight go George's way. It was massive. Like I like BJ Penn now. We get along. But at that time, we really didn't like each other. Me and him didn't like each other. He got very personal with me. Even though I never said anything to him in return. But he got very personal with me. Very personal with George. On the original primetime episode, because they had to edit it after, he literally threatened to unalive George. And he said, I'm serious. I'm going to unalive you. Okay. He didn't use those words. I'm using a code word here because of YouTube. I'm using code here. He said, I'm going to something unalive you. And I'm serious. And he gave this look. They had to edit that out after. They played it live the first time. He was sent a unaliving threat. And then in the next, when they they played that thing around the clock, they edited that part out. And we're like, wow, he really went that far. That was our first like big exposure to primetime like level commercial, right? George got that fight. It was such a relief. And yes, after that fight, now everywhere we went, people knew who we were. It was crazy. It was like a night and day. Like, we became so popular. The gym became popular. Then George became famous in our own. Because the thing is, we would get recognized on fight week, yeah. But when we got home, nobody knew who we were. Nobody knew George St. Pierre. We go to a restaurant, nobody knew who he was. Now everybody knows our story. So that was really my favorite fight. It was like when we broke into the mainstream almost, okay? My second favorite fight was the Carlos Condit fight. My second favorite fight, George had just come back from ACL tear. Me and him were really working closer than ever together because that was the point where George didn't trust anybody. He was very paranoid. He was very, he was very uncertain of his comeback, how it was going to go down. Me and him were working around the clock. I was trying to help him build back up his game and all that. We're working really closely together. And it happened in Montreal. He had an epic win. It was an epic fight. It was super exciting. Everybody was happy. There was no sad faces in the crowd. And he got the title back. And as soon as he got the title back on his shoulder, he took the belt and handed it to me. And gave it to me as a gift, and I was quite shocked. I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was a great gesture. He's, you know, one of my dearest friends, and he handed me the belt, and I was like, you know, it was just an epic moment for me and him. His comeback win, to see him as champion again, the fact that I saw him suffer so badly to win that title again, and he could just turn around and just hand it over to his friend and coach. I just thought such a great human being, you know, such a special guy. It was a really epic moment for me and him, and winning at hometown, it was just incredible. It's an indescribable feeling. You can't, like, you got to live it to understand it. It's hard for me to paint a picture, but it was a really special time. All right, guys, let's end this podcast. We've been going an hour and 17 minutes. I got to take a little break and then rush back to practice. So let's end on something fun. Greg K, I already covered that. Please go back to the beginning of the podcast. The average person assumes a fighter cannot be a mathematician or philosopher or physics major. That's from Eric. Of course they can. You know, it's true that people think fighters are a little bit dumb or something. It's not true. It's far from it. A lot of very intelligent people get into martial arts. Extremely intelligent people. So you have all sorts. You know, you have people who are more educated and some are less educated. Favorite joke of all time. That's a good one, JB. That's a good one. What is my favorite joke of all time? I've been looking at this water. I've been wanting to take a sip for like an hour now. You know what? Somebody put me a joke. Favorite joke of all time. That's nothing's coming to mind, but I love jokes. I met you in Vancouver before long ago. That's from 7-6. Well, 7-6, I will be back on October 18th for the UFC. What's proper attire for a wedding? I saw John Denehar wearing a rash guard to get one in a video. That's from Larry Bird. Larry Bird, that is correct. He went to Matt Serra's wedding wearing a rash guard. John Denehar only wears rash guards. I had Matt Serra confirm it to me personally. He told me, yes, he came to my wedding wearing a tuxedo rash guard. He actually wore a rash guard to the wedding. What can you do, man? But don't wear rash guards to a wedding, guys. It's mamnua, forbidden. Please, no. All right, guys, what else do we got here? Mike Tyson versus Mayweather. I heard that's a possibility. That's from Tanvir. If that's, I mean, that's just crazy. Look, I'll tell you something. Of course, in their prime, Tyson wins. But now, Tyson's, you know, he's very brittle on his legs. You know, it seems like he has knee problems. He's not healthy. Mayweather's going to run circles around him. I don't think that fight's going to happen, but I wouldn't call it crazy. Why? Because both those guys really need money, and that probably will make them a few million. For those of you who don't know, Manny Mayweather would do, first of all, he'll do anything for money. Anything. He's not a very respectable human being. And there's rumors that he's going broke, which I can't fathom that he made. The amount of money he made, you can't go broke. Like, you'd have to be a complete, utter moron. Like, you'd have to be beyond stupid to lose all that money. So I don't know if the rumors are true, but I'll tell you something. I know on good authority, okay? The Mayweather is the type of guy who'll do anything for money. He's just not a very credible guy. My favorite boxer. Okay, that's from Tafara. Tafara, that's such a good question. Of course, I love Muhammad Ali. I love the fact that he was so politically engaged. You know, he was a very intelligent human being. I loved, you know, they called him the lip. You know, the way he would build up a fight. His rhetoric was just insane. The fact that he would talk in the fight. The fact that he would predict his rounds quite accurately. The fact that the way he beat George Foreman in Zaire, the way he did the rope-a-dope. He was too legendary for me not to mention him. He's my favorite boxer of all time. Second favorite boxer of all time, you know, because Muhammad Ali was very special. Second favorite boxer of all time. That's really tough for me to say. You know, I love Lomachenko. I do love watching him. It's poetry in motion. I also love Rigondeaux. I love watching Rigondeaux because he does so much with so little. He doesn't have a good chin. He's not a hard hitter, but he wins all the time. And hearing Freddie Roach stories, you know, Freddie Roach was telling me that he's the best defensive fighter he's ever seen in his life. I love defense. I love defensive genius. I love offense too. Don't get me wrong. But when a guy's so like, he's not muscular. He's not doing it with athletic. Like if he looked like Yoel Romero and he won 200 fights in a row twice, because that's a fact. I'm like, yeah, but he's Yoel Romero. How could I do that? I can't do that. But then I see a Rigondeaux. Now I know he's not. Look, he's not the most athletic guy, but he's no bum either. He's quick. He moves beautifully. Like, it's his system that makes him successful. And that's what intrigues me. That's what brings me, like, it gets my eyes really, like, wide open. I want to see how this guy's doing it because it's possible to replicate to a certain extent. When I see a guy bulldoze somebody, but he's 280 pounds and he's on steroids, that's not impressive to me. It's not impressive. It's not impressive because if I was 100 pounds more than somebody and I was on juice, I would bulldoze them over too. It's not really rocket science what you did. You didn't break any new frontiers. That doesn't impress me. A lot of jiu-jitsu trainers and MMA trainers and boxers, they don't impress me. And some really impress me. The ones that impress me are the ones that did it in a technical way that's it's replicatable. Somebody else can do it also. That's really impressive. You're using physics. You're using a logical solution. You're not using steroids or size. Coach, even on your son's birthday, is he allowed a croissant? That's from Adam Rogers. All right. On his birthday, I'm going to take a candle, stick it right in a croissant, and let him eat it. Okay, how about that? Okay, you happy now? 1 croissant a year. That's good. Okay, that's the quota. What is the hardest thing to learn in MMA? That's from a simulation. The hardest thing to learn in MMA. The hardest thing to learn in MMA, I would say it's distance management. Distance management can be the hardest thing to learn in MMA. Yeah, distance management. All right, guys, let's end on the fun one because I have to go. My daughter is just going to be arriving from school very shortly. Timing. Jimmy Earl says timing. Yeah, timing is a good one too. Timing is a tricky one also. Timing is very important. Can anyone deal with Khamzat's wrestling? That's from Alami. I think people are going to get wise to it, yeah, because it doesn't seem possible to me that he can keep getting takedowns in the first 20 seconds non-stop. Eventually, people are going to do like Usman did, start defending him. They're going to know it's coming, and it's coming in the first 20 seconds. And they're going to get wise to it. Now, will they get taken down? Yes, eventually, but not like what happened to DDP. That was just crazy. I think DDP just prepared in the wrong way. Especially after hearing his coach talk, before the fight, he was saying, oh, he's one-dimensional. This is going to be a one-sided fight. I think he was clueless. I thought this coach was clueless. I said it on my podcast before the fight. I said, first of all, I picked Chimaev, okay, but I thought DDP was going to do a lot better than that. I thought it was going to be a much more back-and-forth battle. And DDP's coach greatly underestimated Chimaev, greatly, to an extent of like lunacy. All right, guys, nothing but boring questions here. Come on, guys, up your game. Does Gordon Ryan not impress you then as he takes steroids? That's from Joshua. Look, I've trained with Gordon Ryan before the steroid period, okay? He was always very impressive. He's a very intelligent guy. But, of course, he takes gear. I mean, I don't think he denies it. It's undeniable. He takes plenty of gear. And for me, that makes me a little less impressed. Why? Because I think he would have refined his jiu-jitsu even more without having that crutch. Now, I'll tell you guys something. He's a brilliant guy. He's very technical. He's very intelligent. And he learned jiu-jitsu way before he ever did any of that stuff. Because I find people who learn jiu-jitsu when they're on gear, they never understand it. They almost never really understand how to make the technique work because they're always using force. They're always using force. It's like too simple to use force. It's too easy to just kind of force it. It's too tempting, I should say. Good night, Tanvir. Did you see Poland is mobilizing 40,000 troops to the border or something? Dang. Yeah, I heard there's some craziness. I'm not one of my students was talking to me about it, but I didn't get all the details. Teep versus calf kick in terms of damage. That's from Capitin. I would say the calf kick is worse. Personally, I would say the calf. But again, could be either or, but I would say generally speaking, a calf kick is worse. Favorite books? That's a question I've grandfathered because I've answered it too many times, friends. Shawshank Redemption. That's from GB19. I've never seen it. All right, guys, come on. Let's end this with something fun. I'm a little bit disappointed in the chat. I want everybody in the chat to drop down and give me 10 push-ups. I'm really disappointed. Why is there nothing funny or humorous or lighthearted to end this episode with? Really, I really want you all to stop right now, drop down, and give me 10 push-ups. Do you Olympic lift? Yes. John Sharp, yes. I'm a big believer in Olympic lifting. It is fantastic. Coach, I'm too fat to do 10 push-ups. That's from Detroit Viper. Detroit, I hope that's not true, but if that's the case, give me 10 girl push-ups with your knees on the floor in disgrace. Okay? I want you to do it in disgrace. You and Tommy Robinson debate would break the internet. Please make it happen. That's from William Bennett. Look, I wouldn't have time to prep for such lunacy. I don't think he's really interested in having a discussion, having a change of ideas. He just wants to spout his propaganda. He's on the payroll or something. He just wants to spout hate. He's not. Look, guys, I would have a discussion with somebody who's interested in exchanging ideas. But some people, they don't want to exchange ideas. There's no amount of argument or proof. They just want to be spewing their talking points, their narratives. They're not giving you talking points. They're there to preach. They're there to just preach their position, their view of the world. They hate you and they see themselves as right and righteous, and they want the resources in the world for themselves, and they don't want you on the planet with them. It's sick. It's disgusting. It's not in favor of coexistence. But he's not a rational person. If he was a rational person, I would definitely dialogue with him. I can do 10 push-ups in about a month. Not very impressive. Coach, who's your favorite fighter of all time? That's from David Kramer. Look, outside of the fighters I've trained, okay, because that wouldn't be a fair question, I would tell you Khabib. Khabib is my favorite fighter. I got to train with him. I got to work out with him. I got to hang out with him, meet him as a person. I just love this guy. I just love everything about Khabib, man. He's just such a great human being. He's so respectful to his coaches. He's so respectful to his parents. He's just like such an up and up guy. He's just a great human being. He's just a superstar, and obviously in fighting, he's a great fighter and a great human being. It's just an incredible combination. So I absolutely love Khabib. After that, it would probably be Chimaev. I love Chimaev. I love his craziness. I love his fighting style. I just love everything about him. Guys, come on, man. Do better in the chat room. You guys can do better than this. I'm supposed to have the best chat room in the whole YouTube sphere. I'm just not impressed today. You guys you're slacking. I want better, funnier, lighter comments or questions. Better, guys. Better. Right now, you guys are at white belt level. Coach, when are you going to visit Lebanon so I can train with you? That's from Phantom. It's my dream to go to Lebanon. A really big dream of mine. But unfortunately, the Middle East is so unstable. I don't think I'm going to be there anytime soon. Thoughts on Catch Wrestling 2025? I don't think there is any Catch Wrestling 2025. I haven't really heard much about Catch Wrestling in a long time. Do you think Lopez will overthink his next fight based on Volk fight? That's from Fogel. He seems like a very passionate, blood and guts type fighter, so I don't think so. I think he's gonna get frustrated a bit with Jean, and he's just gonna run at him. Eventually, he's gonna go for it. He's gonna be more aggressive. I think he's probably went back home after watched the fight and wasn't happy with not being aggressive enough. I think he thought he was doing better than he did. When he rewatched the fight, he must have been surprised on how much more he was being dominated than he remembers, because it was a one-sided fight. Volk fought a great fight. He danced around him. He jabbed him. He touched him up. It was a one-sided fight, but, Lopez came on a little bit at the end. But I think when he went back and watched that, he was like freaking out. Why didn't I do more? Why didn't I do more? So he's going to bring that energy with him. I think he's going to go after Jean. Ankalaev versus Khamzat prediction, coach, at 200 pounds. That's from Adam Rogers. I would think Ankalaev is too much for him. At 200 pounds, Ankalaev would be too big. Too big, too strong. He'd eventually get it done. What is your ideal woman? That's from Sofa King. Oof, I'm going to get in trouble. If I tell you that, Sofa King, I'm going to get a lot of trouble. Guys, I like a humble, sweet, kind woman who's very conservative to the rest of the world. But when she was with me, she's the complete opposite. That's for me. That's the best woman. But then again, guys, touchy subject. Coach, do you believe that the quintet format is the future of grappling? That's from Melancholy. No, but it's a fun twist. It can't be. We'd get bored of it. But it's a fun twist. Easiest takedown to finish in wrestling. That's from Bad Boy. Bad Boy, I would tell you the low single. If you get to a low single, that guy's going down. It's the fastest, quickest way to take a big guy down. Gas or charcoal barbecue? That's from Daryl. Daryl, charcoal over gas, 100%, and sticks over charcoal. I use sticks, okay? I take my wood, I chop it up into sticks, and I burn those sticks. So you're essentially making charcoal, but sticks, guys, sticks. Why? Because I use a much bigger barbecue. Charcoal's that's for a little barbecue. That's for like you're cooking little cuts of meat. No, I'm cooking chunks, giant chunks of meat, okay? So sticks. Knees to the ground should be legal like Aljo versus Yan. That's from Adam Rogers. No, it's too brutal. People are going to get really hurt, so I don't think so. I think it's too dangerous. We got to make the sport a little bit more safe and more... it's got to be entertaining, but also safe for the fighters. You don't want these guys going home into the hospital after every fight. It'll be too brutal. Best burger in Montreal. I would tell you the B12 burger. Check it out. It's in Laval. Check out B12. B12 burger. Coach, your take on CGI versus UFC Jiu-Jitsu. That's from Bilal Ahmed. They're both great. I love the pit, guys. I love the pit. It's genius. It solves so many problems. We talked about it in the past. The UFC is now using it. They're using a pit-like arena, and CGI is using a pit-like arena, and it was started by Karate Combat. It's really smart even for kickboxing, karate style, right? Because you can't go to the edge and you kind of fall off. You kind of stumble down. It's really intelligent. Favorite dessert. Okay, guys, let's end it on favorite dessert. That's from Joshua. Joshua, thank you. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Finally, somebody with some button-pushing skills to put something entertaining on the board. You guys today, I got to tell you, you are not as lively as usual. You're not as charismatic or as creative as usual. Okay, I don't know if I caught you guys on a bad day. Maybe you guys are having a bad one. I'll let this one slide this time, but next time the chat better be more exciting, more electrifying, or you're going to get booed out and kicked out of the chat, friends. All right. My favorite dessert. This is a good one, man. Let me think. What is my favorite dessert? Let me think. Oh, my goodness. Favorite dessert. Favorite food. Favorite bite of dessert. Oh, I know what it is. I had this in Germany. I loved it so much. I had it 2 nights in a row, and the second night they ordered me 2 of them. It's a knefe. Okay, knefe is mozzarella with like this crispy noodle. Then they put a liquid sugar on top. I know it sounds crazy, okay? It sounds totally crazy. It doesn't make sense. You got sugar, you got mozzarella, you got crispy noodles. It doesn't make sense. It's called knefe, okay? And then they put a Turkish ice cream on top. It's like a chewy ice cream. Guys, this is the greatest bite of dessert I've ever had in my life. Let me put it on screen because I really want people to try it. I'm going to put it on screen in a very short period of time. It's not going to take me too long, okay? Because I know how to spell knefe. Knefe. Knefe recipe. Knefe, kunefe, and ice cream. Guys, I'm going to go back to Germany to that exact same restaurant to have the exact... Because here's the thing. They put it in the oven. So they melt the ice cream. It comes out hot with the ice cream on top. The ice cream is melting into knefe. It's too good. It's too good. Okay, guys, knefe is spelled K as in kilo, U as in uniform, N as in November, A as in alpha, F as in foxtrot, A as in alpha. Knefe is the greatest dessert. If you get it done right, it's the greatest dessert. Now, another dessert of equally good is... Okay, here's a good... Okay, this is what knefe looks like. Friends. No, not mini screen. Window. All right, guys, look, it's up. This is what knefe looks like. Friends, this is it. This is it, guys. It comes out. See, it's in a little pan. It comes out of the oven, piping hot. The cheese is melted. The sugar, the crispy noodles, the sugary syrup, and an ice cream on top is the greatest dessert. And I'm a big chocolate fan, okay, guys? I love chocolate. I'm all about the chocolate. But they don't put chocolate. This is a dessert with no chocolate. And I'll tell you something. It's so good. It's hard to describe. It's better than pizza. And now they invented Dubai chocolate, which is basically the crispy noodles, because the knefe also comes with pistachio. They put pistachio cream, crispy noodles, and chocolate on top. Mind blow. I'm telling you, mind blow. Mind blow. When I was in UAE, I tasted the chocolate. I was freaking out. I was like buying every chocolate bar I can find, because every store we went to, they didn't have knefe chocolate. No, they didn't have Dubai chocolate. So basically, they took a knefe and they wrapped it in chocolate, pretty much. And we're like, what? This thing's so good. It's monstrously good. Blew my mind. Every store I was going to, they're like, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. So then when I found the store that had it, I bought like a whole ton of them. And plus, my mom was telling me, hey, when you go to the UAE, bring me this chocolate. I'm like, okay, tell my wife, tell Melissa, she'll figure it out. So my wife was like, that's the chocolate your mom wants. And we're like, what? She heard about it. She wanted to try it. Crazy, delicious Dubai chocolate is basically knefe. All right, guys, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please remember to use Summer50 off. The promo code's on the bottom of your screen. Get 50% off anything on jiu-jitsuclub.com. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.